Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie Esther here, and as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I told you there would probably be an upcoming blog post before the weekend about the changes coming in the next mid-chapter patch, which is going to be in the public test build next week, and the live release will come out sometime towards the end of April. So we're going to test it next week, and this blog post here details everything that's going to be changed. We are going to be testing. The testing can be done by anybody who plays on Steam only. So we're going to get right into it. The March developer update is here. Updates for the Twins and The Blight, the Haddonfield rework, updates for 3 perks, and more. So we can click on either the Reddit or the official forums. I like to go to the official forums, so we're going to go over there right now and read what this is all about. So here we go. Developer update, March 2024. Here we go. Okay. Spring has sprung, and so has a new developer update. In this post, we'll share everything we've been working on for our next update. As always, these changes will first head to the public test build on Steam, and we encourage you to give them a try if you can and let us know what you think. The Twins, a major update. Change. We've reduced the time it takes to switch back to Charlotte to 1.5 seconds, down from 3 seconds. Reduce the time it takes to unbind Victor to 3/4 of a second, down from 1 second, and reduced the time it takes to change Victor's pounce to charge Victor's pounce to 0.85 seconds, down from a second. So he's going to be a quicker pouncer. New, added the ability to recall Victor at any point while he is unbound, and also new, added the ability to change between Victor and Charlotte near a hooked survivor. Developer note, we have made switching between Charlotte and Victor more responsive and given the killer the ability to recall Victor at any time so they feel better to play. But be warned, the anti-face camp meter will still fill if you're too close. Okay? Change. Updated 7 of the Twins add-ons. Another change, Victor's pounce no longer latches on to healthy survivors. That's the biggest change right there. Victor can no longer be kicked after successful pounces, which do not latch onto a survivor. New, Victor's pounce now latches onto survivors when they're put into the dying state. Other survivors can crush Victor during this stage to help the dying survivor, and Victor will automatically return to Charlotte after 20 seconds. While Victor is attached to a survivor or holding a survivor in a locker, Charlotte gains a 10% haste effect. This effect will be lost prematurely if Charlotte hits another survivor. And removed, survivors near Victor while he is latched onto another survivor are no longer revealed by Killer Instinct. Developer note, previously the Twins' power heavily encouraged slugging, leaving the survivors on the ground in the dying state, and since Victor could chain together pounces on multiple injured survivors, but only pounce a single healthy one. Furthermore, survivors could often save each other before Charlotte could make it to them. We have flipped this around. Victor will now be much more effective at injuring multiple survivors instead assist Charlotte, who now moves faster while Victor is latched on, in picking up the survivor. This makes it possible for Victor to both injure and down a survivor without being forced to switch back to Charlotte in between. So Victor can hit you the first time to injure you, and then the second time to down you, and he'll be latched onto you, and then you'll switch to Charlotte, and then you can boogie over there and pick up. So a lot of these situations have been drastically changed. So generally when Victor would down a survivor in the past, you'd have to switch to Charlotte and hope that you have enough time to get over there to do the pickup before the other survivors can revive that survivor, and probably they've crushed Victor in the meantime. So this is going to make Charlotte faster to get over there to do pickups or to get people who are trapped in lockers. You can hustle over there to do the grabs and hooks. And so now nobody's going to be running around with Victor on their head. That's over. They've changed this entirely, where he's just going to be running around injuring people with his pounces, and then he can down them on the second hit. This is a big change. I'm actually very curious to see what Lynxie has to say. Lynxie's a friend of the channel, and she's like, you know, a Twins main and Twins expert. So I wonder what she thinks about all of this, because this is very different play style here now with the way Victor's going to work. No more running around with Victor screaming on your head. Instead, Victor's going to be screaming in your ear on the ground, which alludes to that picture of the teaser that we saw yesterday where Victor has downed Dwight and is latched onto him in that manner. Very different. I want to see what these add-ons are too. This is a big change for the Twins. Oh boy. And one thing, there was a time where they had like almost instant switch back between Charlotte and Victor, and that was in the PTB, and then it felt so good, and then it got removed. It never made it to live. So yeah, it looks like they have adopted some of that here for the switch time here. Okay, next we're going to move on. Oh, here's some more Twins changes. The visual terror radius accessibility will now include Victor's grunts. So that's if you're going to have that heartbeat and on your accessibility meter when the heartbeat pops up when you're in terror radius. So that's going to show up if Victor's near you grunting now. And Victor will now glow red whenever he is vulnerable to being crushed. Developer note, we've updated the visual terror radius to include Victor's grunts to improve accessibility, and added a red glow to Victor whenever he is vulnerable to being crushed to improve the visual feedback. The Blight changes, minor update. Improved collision detection to reduce cases where the Blight slides off objects. Developer note, it could be frustrating to slide off an object if you were trying to bump into it and you ended your rush prematurely. We've improved the collision detection to make the Blight's rush more consistent, and this also fixes an issue which allowed the Blight to incorrectly slide along obstacles and lunge around tighter corners than intended. That's very interesting. No slide tech anymore for those flicks for the Blight, huh? Okay. Haddonfield, here we go. We talked about this in one of the teasers yesterday too. Updated the map layout and reduced the overall size. Reduced the length of the hedges and the fences to create more openings. Developer note, the map's long and narrow shape and rows of unbroken fences and or hedges made getting around very time-consuming. We've reduced the overall size and added more openings to make it easier to traverse. Other changes, adjusted various houses to reduce the strength of some strong loops and reduce the number of houses on the map. All remaining houses can be entered. Developer note, many houses were closed off, making the map larger without any room for gameplay. We have reduced the number of houses that spawn, though each one that remains will now be open and playable. Instead of that dead house in the middle that you just run around but you couldn't actually enter it. We've also reduced the strength of some of the strongest window loops to be fairer and more interesting to play. Okay. Added new pallets and lockers along the edge of the map, and updated street tiles to feature more pallet loops, and adjusted pallet loops in park tiles. Yeah, there aren't many loops as it stands right now in the middle of the street. This middle of the street's kind of like a dead zone. So I'd like to see that change. The outdoor areas were fairly empty before, agreed, encouraging survivors to make a run for the nearest house when they were chased. Since we've reduced the strength of houses, we have added some additional loops to the street and edges of the map to spread out chases and reduce the dead zones. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that the dead zones in the middle. Ooh, get a picture of it there. Okay, cool. All right, now we're going to get into the perk changes. Decisive Strike. Increased the stun duration to 5 seconds. It was 3 seconds. Added a new stabbing animation when Decisive Strike is used successfully. Developer note. The survivor is locked in place for part of the stun while they're being dropped by the killer, so it didn't leave them with much time to run away once they hit the ground. We've increased the duration of the stun to give the survivor a fair chance to create some distance. While we were at it, we added a new animation which plays when a survivor successfully uses Decisive Strike to break free to give some visual flair to the perk. Yeah, Otz did a whole video about this, about like how hard or how easy it was to just catch up to the survivor once the decisive strike was hit. Like some of the killers just shrugged it off like it was nothing, like the Nerfs. I think there was about a dozen killers that suffered really no ill effects from decisive strike because the stun was so short. So I do appreciate that they increased the stun duration here, and I want to see what this new animation looks like. That sounds pretty cool. Adrenaline. Now this is the one that a lot of people were holding their breath to see what this change was going to be. We knew it was going to be a nerf. Adrenaline no longer activates if you are hooked when the gates are powered. Reduced speed bonus. We've reduced the speed boost duration to 3 seconds, down from 5 seconds, and adrenaline no longer causes you to wake up when facing Freddy Krueger the Nightmare. Developer note: adrenaline had a lot of exceptions, which made it difficult to play around. If a survivor was hooked while the exit gates were powered, they would be healthy and receive a substantial speed boost upon being unhooked, making it very difficult for the killer to catch them before they could escape. We've made it so that adrenaline no longer pauses when you are on the hook. We've also removed the wake-up effect when facing the nightmare to clean up the perk, as we've moved away from perks that affect specific killer powers over the years. This is almost exactly what I thought it was going to be, is that you wouldn't, if you were hooked and the adrenaline came into play, you wouldn't come off the hook. Feeling just fine. I had this great pokey thing through my chest, but I just got pulled off the hook, and I'm feeling better now. Better than ever, actually. Zoom, you know? That's kind of what I thought it was going to be, is that adrenaline would no longer work if you were hooked. So you won't see the killers having to try and juggle and see drop survivors to see if they have adrenaline, you know? So yeah, I think that's okay. I know a lot of people were like, I can't believe they're touching adrenaline. It's such a balanced perk, but I think that's an okay change. Ultimate weapon. This is one I've been waiting to see what it is. And yeah, this is not the change I was expecting. Ultimate weapon now reveals your survivor's aura instead of causing them to scream. It's a big change. Reduced activation time to 15 seconds, down from 30 seconds, and increased the cooldown to 60 seconds, down from 30 seconds. So that means that once you have opened the locker to activate ultimate weapon, it's only going to stay active for 15 seconds instead of 30, where you could roam the map for 30 seconds until you heard somebody scream that came in your terror radius. And they have made it so that you can't activate it as quickly either, because the way it is now, before these changes, every 30 seconds you could just open a locker and get it again, and it would last for 30 seconds, right? So now there's going to be gaps where it isn't in play at all. Developer note: ultimate weapon was a jack of all trades, providing both information and a consistent way to interrupt survivor actions, allowing it to synergize too well with other perks. Rather than screaming, survivors will instead have their aura revealed. This means it will no longer interrupt survivors' actions. Those survivors won't know that they're being revealed to the killer, unless you're running distortion. Distortion users are eating today with this change. Since ultimate weapon is easy to activate, it was possible to keep its effect active throughout the entire match. Yeah, because like I said, once the 30 seconds runs out, you just open another locker. It's ready to go. We have increased the cooldown and just decreased its activation window to ensure some downtime between uses. Made it very hard to escape through an exit gate, as killers would approach the exit gate where you're hiding nearby, and you know, at the end of the game, trying to do an S-Tech and escape, and then you're screaming with the ultimate weapon. Made it very difficult to sneak out of an exit gate. So I don't know if this is too much of a change. This is to me, it's a pretty strong nerf. I don't know what you all think. I wonder how much this is going to affect the usage rate of ultimate weapon. Very curious to see. Okay, now moving on. Emblems, minor update. Change the ability to lose a pip. This is excellent. This is something that was a point of frustration. Like, why do we lose pips? We're just trying to play enough to get to the top grades or as high as we can before rank reset. Why are we going backwards? We should never be going backwards. Developer note, with emblems being used solely for the monthly rewards these days, it felt needlessly punishing to lose a pip after a rough match. This quality of life change will make the emblem system less stressful. This also applies to modifiers. You can enjoy these limited time modes without worrying about your grade. Huh. Very cool. Store changes. This is interesting. Major update. Change. Visual overhaul to the entire store menu. Added specials tab to highlight items that are on sale. Added collections tab to find cosmetics from a specific collection. Added bundles containing multiple items at a discounted price. Killer Mori animations can now be viewed in the store. Well, does that signal that we are finally going to be sold some Moris? Perhaps? That would be interesting. Because right now, does this mean we could just look at any killer's generic Mori? Or just Naughty Bear right now? What's going to happen? More to come? Stay tuned. And added a weekly gift that can be claimed for free. That's an interesting thing. The store hasn't changed much since it was introduced in 2018. Gosh, that's going to be 6 years now, huh? This update makes it easier to find what you're looking for and allows us to bundle content together at a reduced price. For example, it's now possible to purchase an entire DLC pack through the in-game store rather than purchasing each character separately. I wonder if this is also setting the stage for possible cross progress, because they had asked us in a survey if the only way they could do cross progress from console to console, console to PC, was if we had to buy the characters again in the platform store to unlock progress from another platform. So I wonder if this is setting that up. Don't get too excited. We've been waiting for long cross progress for a long time. Okay, so here's what this is going to look like. Featured collections: Golden Silk, Resident Evil, Stranger Things, Spring Ensemble. Oh, 13. I wonder if that number is more than what we have. Curious. Hallowed Blight. Interesting. And then, let's see. Featured. What does this say? So this is collections tab. And this is the featured. So that's, we have that already. Cool. Oh, free gift. And then there's a time on how long you have to claim said free gift. I wonder what the free gifts are going to be. I wonder if these will be like a lot of old Rift items, because like they have not, to be honest, they have not been good about taking Rift items and returning them to the store. Personally, I think like once something has been out for a year, it should just automatically get put in back into the store for sale, right? The Rift stuff should just go back in the store. You don't have to get the art team to create a banner and make an announcement for anything. Just have it automatically returned to the shop so that people can buy stuff that they missed out on a year ago or more, you know? Anyway, okay, archives. Minor update. New change. New tomes and their respective rifts will now open at the same time as the update. Oh, that's interesting. New Rift bundle option, which grants the premium Rift rewards and a 20-tier head start at a discounted price. That's pretty cool. Developer note, Rifts have historically opened the day after our mid-chapter updates. That's true. It would be the update would come on a Tuesday and then the Rift would open on the Wednesday. But no more. You can now get cracking on those challenges right away. We've also introduced a new Rift bundle, which includes the Premium Rift Pass and 20 tiers at a discounted price. The Premium Rift Pass can still be purchased separately if you prefer. That's an interesting option to have if you know you have like a heavy workload or a heavy school load, or if you're going on vacation or something, you might want to spend that little bit extra to get that Premium Rift Pass and make it so that you don't have so much pressure on you to get the Rift done if you can give yourself a 20-tier head start. That's a good change. I like that. Until next time, the Dead by Daylight team. Okay, so we've reached the end of it here. I think it's all pretty good stuff. I kind of think I hate to say it, but I kind of think the ultimate weapon change might be a little harsh. Adrenaline's okay. Decisive, I figured that was going to be a buff and that was the direction they were going to go in, where they were going to give additional stun. I'm very curious to see what this Haddonfield map is going to look like. I think that's going to be a good change too. I know we're still waiting on the swamp, but the slide tech for the Blight, I'm glad that that's gone, honestly. The big one is going to be these twins, right? I'm not a twins expert, so I don't know how this is going to feel. I'll be very curious to hear what Lynxie has to say about this, because I'm thinking personally that her world is turned upside down, because Victor and Charlotte always had that snowball ability where you want to keep people injured, find the injured people, and down them with Victor, and repeat. So that's a big change. I don't know how Twins players are going to feel about this. I'm going to be looking to them for them to tell me what they think of it. We'll test it next week in the PTB, and we'll see how all of this feels. But what do you think? What do you think? Are you familiar with the Twins? How do you feel about these changes? I'd like to hear from you on Twins and everything else under the sun here in this update. I always love to read your comments and hear what the viewers think in the community. But that's all I have for you today. As always, thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate the time you spend here with me on my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can hear what you think. And don't forget to take care of each other in and out of the fog. And we will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye. It's a Gen Rush life for us. It's a Gen Rush life for us. Set a hiding, we do gens. Set a randoms, we got friends. It's a Gen Rush life